fastest runner. So Brock Feeney was the fastest man in our third race of the championship on Thursday. Scott Pye later on Friday, and then Shane Van Gisbergen yesterday. So each of those drivers have picked up an additional 5 points. It's 75 points for a victory here again today. And this is going to be an interesting scenario where they will start behind the safety car. And this is actually the first lap of the race effectively. So as you say, it's like what we would have where there's a safety car intervention in a typical race, and we've seen plenty of them over the years. So we are ticking down. Remember, it's only 13 laps in total journey, 70 kilometres, but isn't that a gorgeous scene to see some blue sky? We've seen it all this weekend. We've had rain showers, blustery conditions from the south. On the fringes of the racetrack, if a mistake is made at the moment, it's very, very slippery out there still. So, Brock Feeney, big opportunity for him. We spoke earlier about his incredible concentration and fine performance in Adelaide last year to round out the championship. He's in the box seat today, but he starts on the harder of the two tyres. That is going to be a challenge, Mark Skaife, with a hungry Chaz Mostert tucked in behind on a softer tyre, and Will Brown. The safety car is pulled out of the queue. It's all about racing at full speed now as 24 supercars get it together again on the streets of Melbourne.
Nice getaway by Brock Feeney, youngest ever pole sitter in Supercars Australian Touring Car Championship history. Just 20 years of age. He gets through turn one. Mostert right in behind him. He's about 2 millimetres behind as he comes out of turn two, looking for a move at turn three.
He's all over the back of him. He moves to the outside. Mostert tries to find a way. Now, if he can get up there and squeeze in between 3 and 4, that'll open up an opportunity. But Will Brown's got other ideas as well. This could be a 3-wide scenario by the time they get to turn 5. Mostert is just starting to creep ever so gently ahead. He gets away with it to grab the lead. Here comes Brown on the inside on the softer tyre as well. So now Feeney drops that spot. He's forced to yield. He had no choice. All of them did a masterful job at the top end of the track.
That was absolutely beautiful. The way that they were able to get around 5 together, the crisscross for Brown to get down the inside was very nice also. And that soft tyre used to good effect.
Into the fast chicane now for the first time. Cars look and sound stunning over there, and a gigantic crowd is here today to witness the running of the Australian Grand Prix, and this is a great way to get things started for us. Now remember, there is also the opportunity for the compulsory pit stop to change these tyre compounds. There'll be different people doing different things at different times. They can do it at the end of this lap. See people laying up in the lane. A lot going on back in the pack. Heimgartner's getting assaulted here by LeBrock. And Jack gets up the inside, and the Shell V-Power car in there as well of Will Davison. He was on for a podium yesterday. And into the pit lane, the first of our runners is Brock Feeney. Wants to get off those hard tyres as quickly as he can. Heimgartner in, Kostecki in, Waters, Percat, Di Pasquale, Jones, Fraser, Hazelwood, Hill, Reynolds, Slade. Pile of people in the pit lane. Meantime, on the right-hand side of screen, check this out. Matt Payne down the inside, bringing up billows of dust. It's dirty on the inside. It lacks braking grip, and you've got to be brave to poke the nose down there.
Get ready to go.
Nice job. He knew he was on the dirty side. He had to brake early. 4 tyres.
Okay, go. Wait.
Oh, he got away. He got away then. Nicely done. He's got to wait. He's got to wait. That's really hurt.
That was bad. And the Shell car then, Will Davison, was trapped by the cone marker and couldn't get out. So you heard the call, wait. He dropped time in all that. The pit lane congestion has been a big talking point. When cars all cram into that lane, there's not a lot of space at the moment.
Forward almost did a Van Gisbergen. He was so wide, Neil. He had 2 wheels in the dirt. He gathered it up before it hit the fence. That was a great save by Bryce Fullwood.
So great pace from Fullwood. He's right in touch with Brown and Mostert. He's got the bonus points in his back pocket for the moment. We've got 10 laps remaining. And in fact, the entire field at the moment is running very, very competitively on their time spread mark. There's not a lot between anybody. It's really only separated by where they were on the grid. How's this going on here at the moment? Brown, Mostert, combat aplenty as they turn in here. Is there going to be space given? Oh, not enough, and around goes Will Brown. Is he going to stay off the wall? No. He clobbers the concrete. So that was squealing and tight, and unfortunately for Will Brown,
Okay, mate.
who's sitting fourth in the championship coming into this one, he's pointing in the wrong direction.
I don't think there was contact. I think he was just wide. He got out into the grey, out into the marbles, and he was completely sideways.
Now, this is what I spoke about earlier, of just how wet and slippery it is out there at the moment if you go onto the grass. So the crowd appreciates the fact that Will was able to get it out there.
Sorry about that.
So here's the combat with Mostert on the inside. I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think he's just ended up, because he's out on the dirty side of the road and the radius of the corner continues to keep on tightening there. This will tell more of the story.
Yeah, no touch. So that was just unfortunate. He's in the wrong spot.
Our race leader at the moment is Mostert. It was almost a nail-biting moment for him that could have involved him in the Will Brown incident as well, but he continues to lead by half a second from Bryce Fullwood. Now, the margin between our race leader and the first car in the queue is Brock Feeney. It's a 52.8-second margin. It's 46 seconds as a reminder to transit the pit lane, plus the stationary time, and any congestion component in that as well. Brown in with steering damage on that car. That was a pretty solid whack against the wall. We don't think there was any contact in that process. He was just high and wide on the dirty side of the racetrack. Jack Le Broc's running nicely in the truck assist entry here, sitting in fourth. He's only 3.5 seconds away from the lead of the race. Van Gisbergen lurking there as well, the reigning champion in car number 97. 0.2 of a second is the margin between Mostert and Fullwood at the moment as we pick up on Matt Payne. Let's have a look at the replay of the start here and have a look at just how dusty it is on the inside of the racetrack. So because we've had so much rain and interruption this weekend and a lot of vehicles on the racetrack overnight, it's still very dirty out there. It hasn't fully evolved as it would normally do. And a little bit of contact down there between the truck assist and the shell car at turn one. No big deal, everybody scampered away from it. But how's this? Just a solid block of supercars on the run up to turn 5, 2 wide with Will Brown trying to get into the game here as well. Then they were 3 wide briefly on the run towards turn 6. Keep an eye on those live pictures, bottom right-hand side of screen as well. 0.3 of a second is the gap between the leaders. And this is a bit more of the story about what happened to Will Davison. And so that was him trying to get in to the queue, trapped by the cone marker at the end of the pit lane. There's Brock, Matt Stone Racing. He's right in behind Will Davison. And Will's sitting in third at the moment. He's adrift by about 2.5 seconds off that lead group that involves Mostert and Fullwood. Now, they continue to run on their super soft tyre. They've got to continue to try and hold margin, but it's diminishing because Brock Feeney's only 51.7 seconds behind now. So 46 seconds through the lane, plus the stationary time to get the wheels and tyres on. It's going to be very, very tight on trend at the moment. We reckon there's only 1.5 to 2 seconds margin between first and second on correction, all things being equal. Yeah. It's a theory, and we have to see what the prac looks like, because it might be a very different story when they execute. Into turn 3, Mostert's got 0.2. Just 6 laps remain. And the final dose of supercars, and a cool move by Fullwood. Can he carry it through turn 1? And he does. And he takes the lead, and they celebrate at Brad Jones Racing. So nice work by Fullwood. Chaz wants to argue the case. He covers down the inside. Bryce is on the dirty side. That makes the line down here tricky. Chaz is awake up to the crisscross, and he tries to use it to his advantage. That was a nice move. And when we saw how much dirt and debris was on the inside of the road at the start of the race, I'm surprised he actually got down there without a lock brake. Yeah,
exactly. And he used the curb nicely. He got it stopped. He bumped it off the curb, slid it off there, and was able to come off turn 2 well enough to keep Mostert at bay. Nice job. Feeney's done the fastest lap of the race so far with a 47.35. Remember, you get 5 points in these sprint formats for the fastest lap.
He's opened a margin. Bryce Fullwood's got it out to 0.68 of a second. And on current estimate, he might be able to redeem that podium that went missing in action yesterday. And that'd be a huge moment for him. Cool race so far. Great intensity. This is what we were really salivating for earlier in the weekend. Davison down the inside. Tiny bit of hip and shoulder in the process. And he gets a move done, and Van Gisbergen takes advantage as well. left-hander, turn 4. We've seen some people using plenty of real estate there through the weekend. Here's our race leader. The margin's now 48.7 seconds between these guys at the front and the battling pack further behind that have taken their stop. Van Gisbergen makes a move here, gets it done at the northern end of the circuit. Have a go at this. They're all starting to buy into the battle, Mark.
Exactly. That was a great move by Shane. Great presence of mind to be able to take effect from Mostert through turn 3 to 4 and then come off turn 5 well enough to get down the inside. So have a look at this. Davison forces his way by. Mostert runs wide. Van Gisbergen, bang, done. Makes that move very nicely. And then afterwards, he gets a flow-on effect through turn 5. So nice move by Davison there. And also nice from Chaz not to turn down. If he turned down, there was going to be contact.
David Reynolds has been given the bad sportsmanship flag for using too much of the racetrack invariably on the exit of turn 10. Pressing on with Chaz.
Great job. You did great.
So 3 laps they're saying. I'm hearing a lot of radio contact. Now, great job also by Mark Winterbottom to repair that car overnight from Team 18. He's currently 8th.
And he's about to change that, I think. He has.
Yep.
So he's made that 7th in the DeWalt entry. Bear in mind, that car was scattered all over the garage floor for most of last evening. It looked like a Meccano set. Nuts, bolts, washers everywhere. Now, if we trust the computer, the theory at the moment could be Feeney over Heimgartner and Kostecki, but it is going to be very, very tight. It is a huge battle here for Fullwood as to whether or not he can get on the podium. But we'll see what happens in practical reality, because when they stop, it doesn't always measure up to the theory. Jack Smith's in the game here now as well. He puts a move on Chaz Mostert. That brings Jack up into 8th position. Mostert is really battling out there at the moment. Declan Fraser, who got caught in all the tangle in the pit lane yesterday, and the trading entry is on screen here. What a wonderful supercar race to conclude the weekend. And it is still far, far from over.
So the congestion in pit lane, Neil, will be very interesting, because it might be worth doing the undercut. It might be worth going slightly earlier than you think and having the tyre warm compared to the other competitors coming out. Because as a consequence of pace, you're going to need to have a warm tyre when you get down to turn 1.
Now, what's happened here, unfortunately, with Bryce, on the last lap for him, Mark, he was 11th fastest. So those tyres are falling off the edge as they were for Chaz Mostert. So that's what's changing the complexion of this race. So I'm not quite as enthused about the notion of him making the podium at the moment, as Chaz now comes in for that stop and those tyres are done and dusted. Meantime, it's Van Gisbergen. Here's a familiar yarn. He's the one that's got the consistent performance. Last lap for Shane, 2nd fastest out there. So he is looking very, very racy at the moment as they take their stop at Mobil 1 Optus Racing. 4 hard Dunlop tyres go on with next to no time now to get them on and done and complete the lap. Fullwood's the leader. The margin between he and Brock Feeney is 47.6 seconds. The margin at the moment between first and second is a tiny 0.4 of a second. This little battle unfolding at turn 3 because Chaz is still getting those harder tyres up to speed, so he's clinging on by his fingernails at the moment, trying to keep Tim Slade at bay. James Goldie behind him, and here come the lead group. Fullwood in. Van Gisbergen shadows him. He's right on his rear bumper from Davison and LeBrock. Now this is going to be critical. They cannot afford a slip. These have to be perfect stops. Off comes the Super Soft. On goes Dunlop hard. Done. Nice job. He's nailed the right rear corner of Winterbottom's car. Now what will they think about that in race control? There goes Bryce. And so he's switched position, but now there's a cloud above Fullwood for what happened back in the pit lane. So they've got Fullwood back out in front of Van Gisbergen. They've been very, very quick in the pit lane, Brad Jones Racing, but the departure really hurt them. But the rejoin's the critical story here. Where do this group lob relative to those on the racetrack? Exactly. This is going to be the big story. So here they come. So look at this. We've got Feeney on the right-hand side of screen. He goes through to the lead. He takes Heimgartner with him. And then in behind him is Kostecki. So the computer was right. Followed then by Fullwood, followed then by Van Gisbergen. And that is the story.
Yep.
But it's not resolved for some of the miners. Oh,
not now.
how awkward was that?
Great driving by everybody there to forecast on the cold, hard tyre,
Race
getting
control
out.
to all teams.
of-
15-second time penalty to car 14 for an unsafe release.
So forwards copped 15 seconds for the unsafe release. Second day in a row after a fast pit stop. It takes him out of fourth placing. And have a go at this. 3 wide between turn 4 and 5. They managed to tidy it up between them. And Randall pops out the other side with Payne and Pye.
That's so unfortunate. When he was let go, the timing of the crossover with Mark Winterbottom was very difficult to forecast. And there's a couple of stories that are in the back of this, Neil, because Mostert come into this race as the series leader. He's down in 15th, so that hurt him. That tyre blistering has hurt him. The Larry Perkins Trophy, there's only 1 point between Van Gisbergen and Kostecki, and they're currently 3rd and 4th because you take Bryce Forward out with a 15-second penalty. So they're going to be line astern. The number's only about 1.5 seconds apart.
It's another rock-solid run by this young man. So for Brock Feeney, it's been a remarkable drive today, and he has done the perfect job. The 20-year-old just sat quietly in the middle of the race and was totally consistent, incredibly fast, and gets the job done to take home the honours by 0.9 of a second. Cam Hill off the road and beached in the gravel, followed by Heimgartner, followed by Kostecki. And here's what's happened down here. Declan Fraser and Cam Hill. And Cam, dirty side of the road was what cost him dearly. You can again see the dust coming up on the inside of the road down there. They played it well from a strategy standpoint at the Red Bull Ampol racing team, and Brock Feeney delivers an ideal result here. Grabs the 75 points and gets the job done over Andre Heimgartner. So Brad Jones Racing get a car onto the podium. Brodie Kostecki again, very strong for Coca-Cola and Erebus. Shane Van Gisbergen just off the podium in 4th. Jack LeBrock did a great job again today from Will Davison, followed by Macaulay Jones making it another of their cars from VJR into the top 10. Reynolds and Hazelwood, Todd will be pleased to get into the top 10. Cam Ward, it's been a quieter weekend for Cam in position number 10. And as you pointed out a little earlier, Mark, we've got Chaz Mostert, who came into the race as our championship leader down in 14th position. So a couple of the bigger names, including Anton De Pasquale, down the order.